Hello team, this is Judy Siegel, your Executive Director in Rockford, Michigan, and this will be the first of what I hope is many training videos. I want to share with you today making artisan bread, which is actually a wonderful show that's been sweeping across America. I want to give lots of thanks to your executive team. We've all been working together, sharing ideas to make this just a huge success. But it's a little bit easier to show you how to do it than just give you instructions. So we're going to try to video this today and post it on YouTube so that hopefully you'll be able to see more of a visual how-to versus just reading about it. So again, thank you for joining me today. And we actually are going to be making a couple of loaves of bread. The artisan bread is a three-step process. And total, it only takes about 5 minutes of your hands-on time, but it does take a little bit of prep time. So it's really, really super simple. It's great to do it. I've done it at my last couple of shows, and it's just absolutely been a huge success. You can pair it with a wonderful salad, as we're going to do this evening, or perhaps a wonderful soup at your show. And we are using the deep covered baker to make the bread. So three-step process. The first step you can do the night before that you want to serve the bread or have the bread. So maybe you've had a very busy day. At the end of the day, you're just going to put a few ingredients together. Takes just a couple of moments, and then you leave it sit, and we'll go from there. So the first thing we're going to do, I already have the bread measured. We are using bread flour, and I love using my stainless steel bowls for this because when we're all done, they're super simple to clean, and they have the nice lids for when you're letting it rise and all of that good stuff. So in each bowl, I have 3 cups of bread flour, and I have been using bread flour, though all the executives that have been sharing this across the country, some use a mixture of flours, some use regular flour, so I don't think the recipe is too fussy. So first thing that we're doing is measuring the 3 cups of bread flour, which is already done, as you can see. And then next we need 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And I love our measuring spoons, of course, because we have a 1/2 tablespoon measurement, which is 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Now I know that you're not really supposed to measure over the bowl, so that's up to you, because it's, you know, if you slip and put a little bit too much in, that might make the bread not turn out as well for you. So you decide on that. Then we are using rapid rise or instant rise yeast, and also 1.5 teaspoons of the yeast, just like so. Oh, and we need just a little bit more. I do have another packet right here open. So 1.5 teaspoons of yeast. And then, okay, there's 2 ways to make the bread. And one way is simply the flour, the salt, the yeast, and the water. And we're going to do one that way. Now that will give you a little bit of a crustier crust, so if you like a little harder crust, you might choose this way. In this bowl, we are going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar, and we're going to add just 1.5 tablespoons of oil. So the oil is what makes the crust a little bit softer. So neither way is good or bad, it just depends on what you like. All right, so in this bowl, we have the regular artisan bread, and to that we are going to add just 1.5 cups of water. And it doesn't have to be measured the temperature, you just want warm water. It doesn't have to be piping hot. So of course, using the wonderful easy read measuring cups makes that super simple. Now before we do this step, I am going to stir, whisk, whatever, my flour mixture, like so. Just because I really like using a whisk to do this step, it really mixes the yeast in with the salt and the flour, getting it evenly distributed through the whole mix. Now, the other thing that you can do, which I'm going to come over here and do this before I add my water to this one. In this bowl, remember, I've added the 1 tablespoon of sugar, and that's going to help the yeast to rise actually a little faster as well. So this is going to be plain bread, yummy, yummy, yummy. But to this one, we are actually going to add some add-ins. And there's all kinds of things that you can add in that make this turn out super, super wonderful as well. To this today, we are going to add about 2 teaspoons of our rosemary herb. Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. Again, whisk away a little bit. And then we are going to add 1.5 tablespoons of our fabulous garlic oil. All right, so if you want to do any add-ins, it's to this first step that you would stir it in. All right, so this is going to be a rosemary, garlic, and we're actually going to shred some cheese into it a little bit as well. Go back to this guy, and we are just going to mix in 1.5 cups of water. And I am using my bamboo spatula to do this, or bamboo spoon, instead of the whisk, because the dough does not stick to my spatula like it would to my whisk. It just makes it really easy to do. Now, as you can see, if I wouldn't have been talking, this step would have only taken literally a minute or two. And we just don't worry too much about what it looks like. You just want it to be all mixed together like so. We're going to put the lid on the bowl, and we set it aside for 12 to 18 hours. You can't screw it up. And actually, the dough that I'm working with over on the stove here has been sitting for even longer than that. I guess you can, the person who has been kind of doing the training on this said you really can't mess it up. So that's what it looks like, just like so. We will snap the lid on, set it to the side. 1.5 cup of water in here. Nice warm water. And we'll stir this up and set it to the side. So this is step 1, done the night before. Now, I am going to be sending an attachment along with this video that gives you the ingredients and all of the steps to the bread show as well, so that you can read through it and share it, of course, with your hostesses if you like. And please do feel free, if this video turns out, to share the video link with your hostess as well if they would like to see how it's made. So stir it up. All my ingredients are mixed. Oh, does this smell absolutely wonderful? Just like so. Set it over here to the side. There we go. Now you get to go away, do your thing. 12 to 18 hours, you're going to come back to it. And this is what it's going to look like. Very, very wet, very bubbly kind of, sort of. And now we're going to do step 2. You do this step about 2 hours before your show, or about 2 hours before you want to serve it. This is going to be the second rising, and what we are going to do is take just a little bit more of our flour and put it out on my wonderful pastry mat, which I have to admit, I really hadn't been using much before we started doing this bread, and it's just the perfect tool to spread that dough out onto. Okay, so we're just going to take the other thing, of course, that I love about the bowl, the handle and the little poke hole. The very first time I did this, I used my hands to do this, and it got messy, and with my nails, it got everywhere. So again, the spatula is wonderful because it gets it out for me onto the pastry mat with no trouble, and then very super easy to clean. All right, now you see how this is, and I'm just going to dip this guy into there because I need a little bit more. It's a little bit wet. So, and notice I am not measuring. I don't really think, according to all everything that I've read, that everybody's been sharing, you really can't mess this bread up. So we want it to not be sticky. It's nice and soft, easy to move around, like so. All right, put a little bit more flour on this side. I get it spread out to about the size of the circle, doesn't really matter. And at this point, if you add anything more to the bread, and over here I have some wonderful fresh Parmesan cheese, this is where we're going to add the cheese. And we don't really have to knead this bread. You can knead it a little bit, like so, you flip it. But it's really called no-knead artisan bread. But I'm kneading just a little bit. If you feel any wet spots, just cover it up with your flour, like so. And I'm going to add just a little bit more cheese because I love a lot of cheese. So can you imagine? Fresh rosemary, garlic oil, cheese. Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. All right, and I got a little spot there that I want to kind of, but again, no great shakes. You just want it to be, nice and soft like that, not real sticky, kind of easy to pick up, like so. Okay, so that step took maybe, if I wouldn't have been talking, maybe a minute, something like that. And then, get your deep covered baker. And I am actually going to put just a little piece of parchment in the bottom, just to make it real easy to pull out when we're all done. So this gets put right in there like so. Beautiful. Oops. Put it around. You put the lid on, and I actually put it in the oven at this point. I do have some things in my oven, so I can't right this moment. But I put it right in my oven. Do not turn the oven on, and you let it rise for the next hour and a half to hour and 45 minutes, just right in your oven. So at that point, you would get in your car, drive to your show, put it in the hostess's oven at 425 to 450 degrees, and you bake it for a half hour with the lid on, 10 minutes with the lid off, and this is what it looks like when we're all done. If you can imagine, pulling this out of the oven at your show, and look at that gorgeous, gorgeous bread. Pair that with a salad, as we're going to do this evening at our home, and you will have a wonderful artisan bread. This cost about 50 cents to make versus the $5 that you would pay in the grocery store, and you can have fresh homemade bread at your convenience, and it's just so yummy, and my hostesses have absolutely loved it. I hope this has been very, very helpful for you. Again, the attachment will come along with this video in your email, so please use it at will, and if you have any questions, do not hesitate to email me in with your questions. Thank you so very much, and until we see you again, happy cooking. Bye-bye.